What do you really mean by copy and paste method when you are actually building your, your brand? And then what is this copy and paste? Can you explain?
Okay. All right. A copy and paste is something that we do because you see, to build a brand from scratch, to build something from nothing is extremely, extremely difficult. Okay. So, and especially in this very competitive environment, it's even more difficult to come up with a product and start selling and thinking it will work, but most of the time it will not. So the copy and paste concept is basically how do we copy successful people? How do we copy successful brands? How do we copy successful strategies, packaging, directions, objectives? So once we copy all these things from the great people and who have already done great things, and how do we paste it into our business so that it is like a shortcut? And I will explain to you certain things of the copy and paste of where we go through this, how we copied and how we pasted these things into our business, and at the same time create our own identity after that.
Mm. So you mentioned you have the three biggest people
Influence,
influence you to actually build your brand and to really inspire you, motivate you to do things differently. And I'm gonna show the people that you mentioned. But before I show the screen, who are they actually?
Okay, one of them obviously is Steve Jobs, who created Apple. So it's a big brand. So everybody wants to have an Apple. Okay. The second person is, of course, our very own Chinese guy called Jack Ma. And thirdly, a guy you call Elon Musk, which many people do not know. And I will tell you about these three people, what is so special about them and how I learned from them to put into our business.
Yeah, please do. Since you put these three gentlemen here, I believe they are, they're not only impacting you, but they impact the whole world. But for you personally, what is the biggest thing you can learn from people like Steve Jobs?
Okay, I learned about this Steve Jobs he's a perfectionist. So everything he does it has to be perfect. So what perfectionist means, see, what happens is that whenever an iPhone comes out, he has got 100 people around him, and he will show the design to these 100 trusted people. And if 97 of them say, Steve, I love it, then he will get excited. But then he will ask the three other guys, hey guys, what do you think about this? Hi, Steve, I like it very much. I like it very, very much, but I have not fallen in love with it yet. So Steve Jobs will bring this product and say, go back to the R&D and say, look, guys, I got 97 people who love these things, but 3% has not loved it yet. Make sure these three people love it. So after a while, with the thing, it comes in, and as soon as it reaches 100%, only the product will come out. So what it tells us, I learned from him, is that whatever you do, try to be as perfect as possible. Although, as everybody knows, there are no perfect situations, there are no perfect solutions, but important thing is that our attitude of thinking must get perfection. I learned from this guy.
So just now you mentioned Steve Jobs is a perfectionist. What about Jack Ma? What is the biggest thing you learn from someone like Jack Ma?
Okay, Jack Ma is a guy that you learn something, which is never, never, ever, ever, ever give up. So the more you try, the more you believe, you will definitely succeed. So he's like a living legend who has got many, many stories. Every time he tells a story, it's about never giving up. So we must learn this very important lesson from this very special guy.
Okay, good. How about the third person, Elon Musk? I think he's more famous in the Western world. How about in Asia? Why do people like you and Asian like you admire him so much? How does this man influence you?
Okay, Elon Musk. So by the way, today in America at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, which is 3 o'clock in Malaysia, he will be the first American or first person in the entire world who owns a private limited company, which is like a Sendirian Berhad lah. In Malaysia, it's a Sendirian Berhad guy who's going to launch a rocket to space carrying 2 astronauts. And in America, nobody has ever done that since 2011. That was 9 years ago. And this guy with the Sendirian Berhad built a rocket, and he's going to carry 2 astronauts today to the space station, which is 350 miles away from Earth, on American soil. So he's the first ever civilian Berhad to send people into space. Most of them are like NASA, like the Soyuz and the government, but he's a private company. Okay, what is so special about this guy? He's the only guy in the world. He say, I guarantee you it will never work. And he's the only guy in the world who tells you that I will make sure, I guarantee you it will work. So there is something that I learned very, very big from this guy. You know, you must learn about this guy. Yeah, I will tell you what I learned from this guy later on. How do I put it into our business?
So how does these three gentlemen here influence you, or has in some way has relationship with the copy and paste method? How has these three gentlemen give you an idea of this copy and paste? So can you explain a bit?
Okay, if you look at the downstairs, generate creativity, encourage thinking out of the box, and changing quicker than others. Okay, Steve Jobs, he is, as I say, a perfectionist, and his main thing is basically design, 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 and design. So I've learned something that if you want to be successful, number one thing is that apart from having very good quality products, which is already a given fact that we don't have to say, because if the product is no good and no good quality, don't come out. So anybody who comes out with a product already knows that the quality of the product is very good. So we don't talk about the quality. So how do we attract people to buy our products? So Steve Jobs is one person that he says, the first thing that I come out or anything that I launch, people must instantly fall in love. Okay, fall in love with the design. So once, okay, what we want to do is that if you look at the products that we have actually developed, so I put a lot of emphasis on the design so that people who look at the products, wow, wow, this looks pretty good, or it's very attractive. Then they come to you, and then once they hold the product, our main intention is when you hold our products, we want the saliva to come out from your mouth, like, wow, I feel like eating now. Why, it's so delicious because the design packaging. So Steve Jobs has got this thing that anything he does is all about design. So that was why I learned from him, whatever we do, the design must be good, not only the product packaging. If we do a video, the presentation must be beautiful. If we do a poster, the poster must be beautiful and attractive. So everything that looks nice will attract people. Okay, that's the main thing and the most important thing I learned from Steve Jobs, which we put into our products and our business.
And how about Elon Musk? How is this guy got to do with the copy and paste method?
Okay, the copy and paste method. Okay, this guy is like a genius. To me, he is like a real life Iron Man, because he is a Seminar Berhad sending rocket to the moon. And then if you look down there, there's a car called Tesla. So he created Tesla. And 18 years ago, when people, 17 years ago, when people look at you, you want to build a car and you want to compete with BMW, Ford, and Toyota, Volkswagen in the world, and then you say you want to do an electric car, everybody laugh at him. You know, everybody say you must be crazy, you must be nuts. It's impossible for a guy who is not in the car line, not in the technology line, not anything, to want to build a car. So everybody look down on him and say that it's impossible. Okay, I learned from him is, as I say, if people tell you cannot and you believe you can, you better do it. So don't listen to people, because a lot of people, if 100 people say cannot and you are the only one who say can, and most of the time people don't do. What I learned from him, most importantly, that we can cut and paste into our business, basically is, whenever he does something, he must get the best people in the world to do the thing. Meaning that if you build a car, an electric car, he employs the best guy about battery technology. He will get the best guy on braking technology, the steering technology. He gets the best people in the entire world to work for him. Okay, how did that convert into our business? So when I started the business, yeah, I knew that I couldn't do it all by myself. So I have got a partner called Eddie. So he is an incredible guy, because you know why? He has been working in the airport for 13 years. So he knows exactly in out what people like in the airport, what tourists like, what kind of tourists they like, anything. So we became partners. So he's doing an extremely good job, because you know what? Without him, the brand can never be seen anywhere, and he doesn't, and he doesn't give what people say. He said, let's do it because I know exactly what we need to do. So he's a very, very good partner of mine. So I got the best partner in the world. Okay, that's number one. Now we have got the best staff in the world. In other words, our staff works 7 days a week. I mean, it's very difficult to find staff who work 7 days a week, who like die for the company, that was like, hey, hello, are you sure you're going to do this for us? How can you do it for us? So for one reason is because I think we are nice people. Number two is that they see the potential in the business for the future, and we treat them well, we love them very much, and we appreciate what they do. So we get the best people for the best job. And finally, we get the best customers to sell the best things. So in other words, in the airports, what we do is that the number one retailer in the airport, we work with them. The number one so-called chain store in Malaysia, we work with them. So we work with the best people. So in other words, when you work with the best people, you get the best results. So it is something that a lot of people take things for granted, but we put a lot of emphasis in learning from Elon Musk. You want to do the best thing, you learn from the best, or you get the best to do it for you, and we do it together the best way. So this is how, yeah.
Good, thank you. One of the awards that you have won actually is from the Guinness Book of Record, and you actually won the title, the biggest number of durian stream products. Yeah. So can you share with us how did you, how did you in very short few years you managed to build so many items, yeah, in a short time? What's the secret of you building so many items in a short time?
Okay, so this one I learned from Jack Ma. So Jack Ma says, in order for you to be successful, there are three principles of business, business principles that you must follow. Number one is variety. Try to give as many as possible. So for example, if today you walk into a shop that sells only 200 items, and then at the same time you walk into DIY with 10,000 items, so you probably want to buy something, you get stuck there for 3 hours because there's so many things to see. So Jack Ma says, the more products you have, the more choices you have, and the more different types of people will buy your product. So if you only have one or two types of product, only one or two types of people who like this kind of choice or choices will buy them. But if you got 10, you may attract 6 other people who may not like the first 2. Okay, so what happens is that even like that, looks at Volkswagen, look at Samsung, Huawei, Oppo, Toyota, and all these brands have got products variation from 200 ringgit to 4,000 ringgit handphone, or a $70,000 car to a $200,000 car. So Jack Ma says, you want to capture the market, the first thing you need to do is basically to have as many products as possible. So that was why we started doing like, okay, 1 coffee, 2 coffees, 3 coffees, 4 coffees, after that we do chocolates and so on. So when you have a lot of products, and he said, when you have a lot of products, people will trust that, well, this company must be doing well. This company must be very good because they've got so many products, right? And then at the same time, if somebody buys one product and they like this particular product, I said, wow, they also got chocolate one, maybe I should try the chocolate. Oh, they also have tea, maybe I should try tea. And they got bak kut teh. Oh, so once they have confidence in the product, so they start buying one after another, and the brand top of mind, they will remember you forever. So that's what Jack Ma says.